If you like the video, please consider supporting James Corp on Patreon. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Chambers of Roleplay. I am James Chambers. I am the host, but I'm not the GM today. We've got some faces that you may recognise. We've got definitely a face that you'll recognise, which is Mr. Guy, who's been on before. So we're going to go around the table, get people to introduce themselves, and then we'll hand off to Jerry, and then Jerry will explain to us all, especially me, who's an idiot, what Hellenes is. Not that I own it, but we'll just pretend I don't own it. So I am James Corp, and I am again the host. So yeah, I'm really bad at this if you can't tell.
Just takes a little practice, trust me.
Is it Renee? Did I pronounce it incorrectly again?
You did. I'm Renee Silberg, longtime player, first time video. Nice to meet you. Looking forward to having a good time.
Mr. Guy?
Hi, I'm Guy. You don't need to call me Mr. It is my first name. It's fine. So I'm Guy at Miller Maths. I've been on these things a couple of times before. I've never played Hellenes before, so I'm super excited to give it a go.
Alice?
Hi everyone, I'm Alice Peng, aka Lala Twiddle for most people that know me online. I represent Babies with Knives podcast.
Thank you.
Awesome.
And last but not least, Jerry.
Now me? Yeah, I'm Jerry Grayson. I wrote Hellenes, World of Sun and Stone, Atlantis, The Second Age, working on the Godson Agenda, did Mythic D6, did some other stuff. But today I'm here to run Hellenes, so everyone's going to need to put on your little helmet and go for this ride with me. I'm ready. So let's see. So do you guys want me to explain the game to you? We can go through the characters and stuff like that. Actually, just for me, let's just go around and let's figure out who everyone is playing. So Renee, you're playing who?
Today I will be Niobe Swiftshot.
It's my favorite character in the whole game. Guy, who are you playing?
I'm playing Barak, Bringer of Woe.
Just between you and me, Guy, the best character in the game. I love that guy. Alice?
I'm going to be playing Aura, Seer of Currents.
Aura's a personal favorite. First character that I wrote. The whole game is based on her. Without her even playing in the game falls apart. And Mr. James?
I'm playing Iron-Armed Iolaus, who's
Beautiful.
a Hellene, I believe.
That is the guy that came to me in the dream that said, Jerry, you should write Hellenes. So yeah, all those characters are the best characters in this game. You guys all chose well. There's a few things I want to go over. Do you guys have your character sheets brought up?
Mm-hmm.
I do.
Okay. So this is how the game of what Hellenes is. Basically, Hellenes is a Greek-inspired space opera. It's not Greeks in space so much as it's basically Greek-inspired. So there's no Earth involved. It's not the far future. It is its own entity. It's realized itself. And it basically just borrows very heavily from the Greek myth and so on. So in the game, you play a character who's larger than life. You are a hero, not a hero in a comic book traditional sense, but a hero in the Greek, space operatic sense. You're not necessarily always a good guy. What's that?
Hercules.
Hercules, beautiful. That's a great example. Theseus, Perseus, Bellerophon, characters like that who weren't always necessarily the best human beings, but they did things that were larger than life. And they did them because it's essentially the right thing to do. Or, in their paradigm, it was the right thing to do. And that's what we tried to do here in Hellenes. So the first thing about your character is your name, which is incredibly important in Hellenes because essentially you want people to sing songs about you, write stories about your character. So let's take, for instance, Aura, Seer of Currents. Everyone in the game has an epithet attached to their name. So you have Aura, Seer of Currents. You've got Baruch, Bringer of Woe. Let's see. We got Swift Shot, and that will be Swift Shot, and we've got Iron Arm Iolaus. And the epitaph in the game will allow you guys to make one impossible feat. It's something you're known for, and you guys will actually decide what that thing is once we start playing. For instance, let's say Iron Arm Iolaus. For instance, if he was in the game, which he is, he might, run to like a starport. The enemies might be escaping in their ship, but because he's Iron Arm Iolaus, he might decide, you know what, I'm going to grab the landing gear and hold the ship down here until my friends get
Captain America. That's what's
like Captain America, El Capitan. That's right. But, in other games, you might go, well, that's going to be a minus 30 to your roll. You probably won't be able to make it, but, you can go ahead and roll it. In this game, you can activate your epithet, and you can say, because I'm Iron Arm Iolaus, I'm known for these feats of strength, I'm going to hold the ship here. So once per game, you are able to do something that normally should be impossible, but your character is known for it, and that's why it's attached to your name. Let's see. Beyond that, your name, you have who you are favored by, and these are the gods that favor you. These might not necessarily be the gods that you are involved with, that you love and you hold dear, but these are these beings have looked at you and said, hey, there's something about that person that is going someplace, and you know what, I'm going to hitch my horse to that wagon, and therefore they favor you and they shower you with gifts. So if you look at your character sheets, it'll show that you're favored by someone. So with Iron Arm Iolaus, he's favored by Athenia, and Athenia gives him gifts. And how do the gifts work? Well, they work on your glory, because in Hellas, your character's trying to accumulate enough glory that at the end, you can go sit with the gods and be immortal. Therefore, you're always trying to amass glory. And the gods are always giving you gifts so that you can do these impossible things so you can get more glory. Because the more awesome you are, the more glory you get, therefore the more awesome things you can do. So for instance, at 0 glory for Athenia, you get the wisdom of Athenia. At 30 glory, you get the owl of Athenia, and so on and so forth. And the different gods give different things. Like for instance, with Aura, who is favored by Poseidon, she wowould be able to know the sea, full sails so that her spacecrafts run faster, and so on. And okay. I think I put everything on those character sheets.
There's an error on the character sheet.
Oh, what's there's that? Probably tons of errors on these character sheets.
Because it says on my under the where all the statty shit is, it says favourite of Henusson, but then it says Athena the Seer over the other side.
Yes, that was a typo that I caught, but I never bothered to re-upload the character sheets because honestly, I suffer from a disease called lazy. So sometimes, but you can see that your character is favored by Athenia, and you have all the Athenia's abilities on the character sheet for you. So disregard that typo. There's probably a few more on your character sheets.
When I read Aura, I was wondering if Poseidon was your version of Poseidon, and you just answered me yes. Basically, space version of the god of the sea. Got it.
Right.
The really space travel's really cool in this. You go into it's called the wine. It's like a wine. It's like what's it called? Oh, what's it called?
Wine Dark Void.
Yeah.
Well, the Panthalassa, Slipspace, and what that is Panthalassa is the cosmic all-sea. So basically, you've got real space, and below that sits the Panthalassa. So when you have your little spaceship, your spaceship unfurls these sails, and then you slowly sink into Slipspace. And Slipspace is stratified. So at the top of Slipspace, the currents are calmer and more tame. But the deeper you go into Slipspace, the faster you can move. So if you need to get someplace quickly, you go deep. And when you go deep, there are things down there. There are, rogue planetoids. There are nefarious and malevolent beings that live in Slipspace that, you will encounter there. But the lower you go, the faster it moves, but the more dangerous it becomes. So that's how people get around. And when you're in Slipspace, you can go outside your ship. There's a breathable atmosphere. If you jump overboard on your ship, if you know how to swim, you can kind of tread aether, which is the energy that permeates Slipspace and which your sails catch. It's this etheric energy. but you will eventually sink. And if you spend too long there, you forget about real space, and then you become a shade. So just imagine, like, you know, in Greek myth, when they go to the underworld and eventually they forget who they are and they decide to stay there. That is Slipspace. Excuse me. But let's see. Let's get back to these characters so that I can get you guys up to speed as quickly as possible. You have your races in the game, the different species of Hellenes. You have the Cyclops, which Aura is. Basically, they blind themselves so they can see better, taking their pineal gland and putting it inside of a crystal that floats above their head, which allows them perception or sight beyond sight, as Lino would say. So they're able to see very, very well. They can see people's weaknesses. They can see a situation. They can read a situation and tell you all about it. You've got the Gorgons, who are these snake beings, who their blood is like poison. In fact, sometimes they cut themselves just to get at the blood so they can poison their blades. Coiling tails, paralytic stares from the Gorgons.
I'm a nice guy, really. Like,
Yes,
you know, don't judge by appearances too harshly. Like a
right.
3
No,
meter
wait,
long
man.
snake being, you know.
No, you're the coolest guy, bro. You're the
Yeah.
coolest. Stay classy. Then you have the Nephilim, which no one picked. My favorite characters, kind of a disappointment. But basically, they're etheric beings. Winged beings can like fly. They can move through walls because they can discorporate and move around. Then you have the Myrmidons, who are essentially insect colonies that have come together, and they try to ape Hellene society, which, you know, those are the humans in the game, the Hellenes. Then you have the Amazons, and the Amazons are a breakoff from the Zorn culture. And the Amazons are militaristic warrior women who are off from the Hellenes, but deal with the Hellenes. Then you have the Nymphs, who are an androgynous race of arboreal dwellers. And then you have the Zentaur, who are basically a cephalopod who build bodies for themselves, cybernetic bodies, and so on. And each different species has their own gifts and abilities that they can do. For instance, the Hellenes are beloved by the gods, therefore they're able to manipulate roles, yours and other people's roles in the game, because the gods always favor them. Cyclops, they can see stuff well. As I said before, the Gorgons have a paralytic stare and, you know, a massive tail, which they love to use when they wrestle. Now, if you look at your character sheets again, you'll see your stats, and your stats will range from a 0 up to like maybe a +5. And a 0 in the Hellas is a baseline. That is an average person. So if you have a 0 in an attribute, it doesn't mean you're bad. It just means you're average. If you have a +1, you're above average. If you have a -1, you're below average. You also have your skills, which are basically, when you look at your skills, it'll show your skill, and then it'll show a skill in a bracket, and that's with the attribute plus the skill, and then you roll a d20 and add that to it. What else do we have? The one
So we roll
important.
D20s in this game. Any other dice other than D20s?
Nope, that's it. That's all we will be rolling, and you'll see the magic.
I'm sure there will be lots of magic.
Oh yeah, they'll be. Well, they'll probably just be shenanigans. It probably won't be any magic, just shenanigans. But in the game, there's one important little pool of points that you guys have called your hero points. And what hero points allow you guys to do is manipulate dice rolls and to do things that normal people can't do. So one hero point, and you guys can spend up to 3 hero points per round in the game. One hero point will negate 4 points of damage. One hero point will allow you to do an additional 4 points of damage when you attack. One hero point will add +2 to your roll. So if you spent 3 hero points, you could add a +6 to your roll, or you could negate 12 points of damage, or do an additional 12 points of damage, which is a lot, because if you look at your guys' hit points, you can see that, you know, someone shooting a gun at you that does 16 points of damage and then throwing on top of it an additional 12 points will probably pretty much ruin your day. But that's why you have hero points, and that's why you guys are heroes. You guys can do stuff that the normal Joe cannot do. So you have that, and then you have the other thing that goes hand in hand with that is your destiny and your fate. Now, Your destiny is what you guys are trying to achieve. That's the thing that you guys are driving towards. Where your fate is the thing that will pull you under and destroy you.
Are we
Now,
aware of our fate, or is that for the
you guys
player
are
character?
absolutely aware. You guys are absolutely aware that your destiny is this, and that your fate, if you guys lose a step, is that. Everyone's aware of it. However, what you can do in the game, let's say, for instance, you need extra hero points for a roll. What you would do is go, well, I can tempt fate. And by tempting fate, you can have up to 6 additional hero points for a roll that you can use however you would like. However, when you make that roll, if you roll 1 through 5 on the D20, or if you fail the roll, you get half as many fate points. So if you took 6 fate points and you rolled a 1 through 5, even if you succeeded at the roll, you would still get 3 fate points. And once you have 10 fate points, you're done. You've achieved your fate. And I reach across the table, take your character, rip it up, tell you to get out of the house. I don't even want to see you again. You're dead to me. So that is your fate. Let's see. Oh, and the last thing is basically how the system works. Basically, in the game, you have to roll an 11 or higher on a D20. So you take the modifier, which is the degree of difficulty, which I might say, okay, it's a -10 to your roll, let's say. But you have, let's say we're going to do a fighty fight, and you have a weapon skill of +5, plus you have a combat rating of +5. That would give you a +10, which means you roll a D20 +10, -10. Or, you know, if you only had a +3, it would be +3 -10, so you'd have a -7 to your roll, and you need to roll an 11 or higher. If you do, you succeed at your task. If you roll a 6 through 10, you get a partial success, meaning that you succeed at what you're doing. However, there's a complication involved. So in combat, you would do probably half as much damage as you intended to do. If it was you jumping over a chasm, you would jump over the chasm still. However, you might land on your belly, and now you're, crawling for purchase to make it over that chasm. However, you still made it. And if you roll a 1 through 5, that is a failure. If you roll a 0 or less, that is the critical favor. And that's when we just start bringing the pain in buckets. 20 or higher, critical success, awesome things happen. The world opens up for you, and people love you. So
Sorry,
that
can I ask a question just about hero points? Can we spend them after we've rolled, or do we need to invest them first?
Yep.
So if I miss a roll by 2, I can chuck a hero point at it and be like, right, yeah, it goes by 2. Cool.
Absolutely. So that is Hellenes in a nutshell. Does anyone else have any questions or anything they'd like to ask?
It's an if and but system. Got it. On a D20.
Yes.
Sounds good.
That's
Beyond
right.
that, if we, that was a lot of info download, so I'm certain you can just repeat little bits as we play.
Oh yeah, no, I just want to get that out there for anyone who might be watching and going, oh, did not know that. However, I'm going to completely take care of you guys. And so, you will not be able to fail in this game. Or I should say, the only reason you will fail is because of any type of gross incompetence that I might hoist upon you. However, you guys are front loaded for awesome, and you guys are ready to play. And that's what we're getting ready to give you. So are you guys all ready?
Yes.
I'm ready.
Go for it.
Okay. So you guys are aboard Aura's ship. She is basically taking you guys basically to a funeral for a gentleman called Staros, who you guys have all encountered and you guys all had misadventures with in the past. And basically, he was the person that took you guys under his wing. At one time or another, you guys were all young, unseasoned heroes doing your thing, and somehow you got sucked into an adventure with this man. And he took care of you, and he loved you. And maybe in some small part, you guys loved him back and respected him. But now he's dead, and you guys are on your way to his funeral. But in the course of that, all of you, what are you guys doing sitting inside your guys' ship? Where is everyone else in this ship as you guys are moving through Slipspace?
I'm piloting, so I'm on the bridge.
Okay, you're on the bridge looking out over the rolling clouds, the ubiquitous light that emanates somewhere from Slipspace but no one ever sees.
Is Slipspace something?
Underneath.
Sorry, I've got a question about Slipspace. Is that something that you need to constantly watch, or can you just let it just carry you along and shit like that?
Is it like
If you-
Andromeda, where you have to calculate and recalculate?
No, you stand up on the bridge and you kind of drive the ship. However, if you did decide to walk away from it, you've got proximity alarms, you've got all sorts of different navigational pieces of equipment that would, let you know, like, hey, you need to get back up here. But yeah, Slipspace, where you're at right now, which is the shore, it's called the shore, which is the highest most part of Slipspace. It's incredibly tame. It's like being on a beach in spring is what it's like. However, if you look over the side of the ship, you can see like the clouds get more foreboding and darker the deeper you go in Slipspace. But yeah, you can be on the bridge. You could be up there piloting, you could be up there contemplating, and that's where you are. Iolaus, where's Iolaus?
I think he's helping himself to some wine that is watering down, and he may be like maybe bringing some wine out for everyone else to like have a toast towards a pre-toast before we get to the funeral, in honor of our lost and departed friend from the mortal coil.
Awesome. So you're getting wine out of like the galley. And one thing about Hellas and its culture, there's no space food in Hellas. So down in your guys' hull, you have goats. You guys have rolls of cheese. You might have a few chickens in a coop. No one here is eating pre-packed microwave foods. You guys eat food. If you guys, if you're going to eat it, you're going to look at it. Be it a vegetable or some type of other type of creature, everything you guys eat. Now, saying that, you guys do have like ration type food, but who eats that and who wants to eat that? Why eat like, a hot pocket when you can actually have a meal prepared by like, actual fingers. So, although sometimes, people do want the hot pocket. I don't get it, but Pop-Tarts and hot pockets, not my bag. However, that's where you're at. What is Niobe doing? Where is she on the ship?
I think Niobe is kind of looking out on the ship, looking at the Slipspace, unintentionally in a heroic pose, but that just happens all the time.
Well, yeah, that's your default.
Hair
Some
blowing.
people have like
your hair's blowing
their
regardless.
sour resting face. You have heroic resting face.
Pretty much.
Awesome.
Blowing hair,
Okay.
even though you're inside. Yeah?
And what about Baruch?
In contrast to Niobe's pose, I am gazing down into the depths of Slipspace, musing on Staros and the many battles we fought together. Baruch did indeed love him in a way, and he's reflecting on the many others that he has loved who've been afflicted by tragedy. I'm wondering if this curse is doomed to follow him around for all time. I think he'll refuse the wine for a moment, for the taste will be bitter in his tongue if he drinks to his friend's death.
Okay, so let's see. Aura, you're on the bridge. You're looking out onto the deck, and out on the deck you can see Niobe and Baruch out on the deck. One is staring off heroically into the Panthalast. The other one is looking inside himself and having a personal reverie about the people he's lost. Onto the bridge comes Iolaus, carrying like wine and basically sausage to drink it from. But as he's coming through the door, time just kind of slows down for you, and you hear a voice behind your head, and you've heard this voice before. It's a rumbling voice. It sounds like the movement of horses. And you know that Poseidon is upon you. And occasionally he will come and talk to you, ask you things, suggest stuff to you. But you're familiar with it. And in fact, all of you guys are familiar with this at one time or another. These gods have basically come to you in some type of form. Sometimes it's in the form of an animal. Sometimes it's an inanimate object that's talking to you. But you guys have all been visited. This time, Aura is being visited while on the bridge. And you hear a voice behind your head. And you feel you can feel like breath on your neck. And Poseidon says to you,
turns to the back of my head, but I don't turn.
right? Yeah, wherever you turn your eye, you can never actually see him.
Okay.
Like, if you turn this way, the voice is coming from here. If you turn this way, the voice is coming from here.
Okay.
You never ever, unless he wanted to be seen, you've never actually seen him. You felt him and you recognize the imminence and the presence of Poseidon, but you guys have never, I guess, hung out. But he says, "Look before you, child," and you can almost, instead of him pointing beyond you, you feel him pointing beyond you, although there's no arm there. Prepare yourself. Prepare the others. So that's what you get out of it. What are you doing?
Okay. Call over ship comms. I'll turn on the ship's comms. Everyone to battle stations. We are about to engage.
Awesome. The two of you, Niobe and Baruch, you guys are outside on the deck of your guys' little ship. And Baruch, you're looking overboard and you look down between the clouds, and as the clouds part, you see what looks like movement. Something else is moving below you, which is not unheard of because there's other ships that move past you guys. So occasionally you'll see a ship in the distance, moving in an opposite direction or parallel to you, or something like that. But this just kind of catches your eye because it just reeks of malevolence. And when that happens, Niobe, you see pieces of debris rolling toward your guys' ship, and it's on fire. And one piece rolls past, another rogue piece rolls past, then it starts coming heavier and heavier at you guys until you realize that you're in some type of debris field of some type of destroyed ship. And now the ship is being peppered with debris. As you guys are flying through it, Slipspace cells are sparking because things are hitting the etheric cells, and so they're making these blue motes of like energy pop off of it. And it's almost like being in a hailstorm of burning pieces of shrapnel. But with Ara's warning, you guys are able to actually get cover. What are you guys going to do?
Before we continue, could we give the audience a description of the various characters we're playing? Because we have, we're not all just human looking. I know that at least two of us are going to look a little different, and that's going to influence a few factors.
3 of you are going to look pretty different, to be perfectly honest.
So,
Okay, go for it.
Okay. So for Aura, I am a rather waifly sized woman, about 5'4", but very thin. And I always have this white cloth over my eyes, bandaged over my eyes. No, you don't know if I actually have eyes or not as a result, because it looks like there's this little divot and hollow emptiness underneath that bandage that I never take off. I wear simple robes with and my hair is shaved completely bald that I often wear a scarf over. To my side, I carry a satchel that is generally overfull with navigation charts and scrolls and various other implements of writing, paper, ink, pens, and such like that are often always carried by me. So that's my, and the last thing is I have essentially an ion stone for people who play D&D, but I have this stone that always floats around my head, and the front of it looks almost like it's almost like an amber, and inside you can almost see like it blink once in a while, like an eye when it moves.
Like it. Okay. Who else wants to describe it here? God, you go for it.
Yeah, I should probably. Barak does not look human at all. I am maybe a 10-foot tall serpent with the torso, like a humanoid torso, the top of it. So serpent tail, topside human, kind of green reptilian skin, braided hair. At the sight of the debris coming in, I'll immediately just adjust my kind of combat harness and grab a shield and a sword to my side and start trying to bat away debris. Doesn't really carry much in terms of equipment apart from his weapons of war. They're all he needs to do the job that he needs to do.
Awesome. And then Niobe. What is Niobe? How does she look?
I feel like Niobe is probably fairly tall for herself. Loose skin, blonde hair, as the drawing indicates, is all well and good. Something to note about her, as heroic as she is, she looks like she's only about maybe 16, 17, maybe on a good day, which is really frustrating when you're trying to be heroic and people say, move out of the way, kid. She's dressed in armor, cuirass, has her weapons at her side. Actually, I think she pulls a pistol, goes over to Iolaus, grabs one of the drinks and toasts him, toasts stars, takes a quick sip, puts it back, and gets into position.
Okay. And then Iolaus?
So I actually, because I'm playing a Hellenes, so I'm actually like, I'm the closest to like being human than everyone, but I do wear like full on heavy like Greek, maybe like 300. If you think about the 300, the film, I'm probably like that, but rather than being naked, like on top, I've got like full on like almost centurion armor, I'd say. Actually, I could show you what I look like because I want like the character is like on the front of the cover. You know, the drawing is that exact drawing, and he's got
He's
a large
a Spartan for anyone who
well.
Yes.
I don't know if
looks
he's
like
is he a Spartan?
Sparta.
I don't know if he's a Spartan. I don't know. I'm not. Nope. No, he is.
Okay.
He's definitely a
He's
Spartan.
got that sort of armor.
He's probably a bit glum as well because his home planet recently got destroyed as well, if I rightly remember, in the actual law of the law of the thing as well. But no, yeah, he's serious. He's like, yeah, he's definitely not me. He's fit and buff, and he's got a mighty shield. Oh shit!
Seems there we go. He's back.
Okay, good. And a different whatchamacallit.
Welcome
Okay.
back, James.
That's right. Did he fall out?
Yeah, he's
Got
frozen.
his subscription out and then dropped out, which is
Yep.
actually kind of cool that you fell out afterwards. But okay, so what is Iolaus on the bridge doing? Debris outside, peppering the ship now. What are you doing, Iolaus? We'll go back the other way. Uh-oh.
Have I conked out again?
Nope, I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Well, I'm gonna because I'm a professional warrior, according to this, a professional warrior. So I'm gonna just start going. Everyone take cover. Just like make sure get everyone like safe, and not putting themselves at risk from this flying debris.
Okay, cool. And what is Aura doing? Your ship is being pelted. Your etheric cells are popping.
Yeah, I go to the panels, the navigation panels, and I start evasive action.
Okay, cool.
And in fact, I'm going to, at that point, take in the sails, and I'm going to go into manual thruster piloting. Therefore, I'm not I'm going to basically shrink our footprint as small as we can.
Okay, so you're making your profile smaller. Now, when you do that, because obviously you've sailed the ship before, you won't be moving as fast, and you will gradually start to sink, because essentially you're taking away what's dragging you along. But perfectly fine. So you do that. All these alarms start going off on the ship, but you guys are continually moving forward, and then you guys see the ship just kind of like roll past you on fire. You see bodies trailing behind it. Let's see.
Aiming for life signs.
Well, let's make some rolls here.
Sure. What am I rolling?
Okay, so Aura, give me a piloting roll.
Sure.
Let's see, and your pilot is a +8. We're going to add an additional +2 because of the maneuverability of the spaceship that you have. Hold on, don't make the roll yet. Because
sorry,
you have a -5, so you have a +3 to your roll.
Okay.
So give me your roll +3. D20
Okay.
roll +3.
You want me to roll it again, or do you want to just take it off?
Let's see.
Either way works.
You rolled what is that? A 5 + 10. You would have still gotten a success even with just a +3 as opposed to a +5.
Cool.
So you managed to keep the ship even though like the ship is flying through this debris. Iolaus, give me your professional skill, if you would.
Okay.
You've got a profession. Give it to me at -5 because you're trying to yell over these claxons that are going off inside the ship. But give me this roll and we'll do something with it. And yeah.
Okay, I've got a 17.
17. Okay. Awesome. So your training kicks in. You start yelling out to people what to do, which I'm going to say is going to actually give everyone else bonuses if they follow like your orders from it. We'll say.
Okay.
So what is Baruch doing? Baruch, you said you were preparing for battle.
Yeah, I think with these bits of debris that are coming towards the ship, I shall attempt to just bat away any bits with my tail. If there are any like large pieces that look like they might damage the ship, or maybe a bit some of my shields, some of my tail, just trying to make sure that it doesn't actually land on deck and the ship stays as safe and we stay as safe as we can.
You're fighting wreckage outside the ship. Is what you're doing. Let's see. Let's give. Do you have a?
Oh, I should have got a +2 to that because sorry, one of my talents is leadership ability. Due to their confidence, Hellenes natural leaders. Hellenes receive a +2 bonus to all commands and diplomacy rolls. So that should have been a 19. If that makes any difference.
It would have still been a success.
The same as it, yeah. Do you want melee or pancration?
Give me a parry roll, which you have a +7 in, and we're gonna give you a -10. So you have a -3 to your roll.
Do I get the +2 for the for following the orders, or am I following his orders? I don't know.
Actually, yeah, sure. We'll throw those on there. We'll throw on a +2. Okay. So you would have had a -3, so you have a -1 to your roll.
So at 15.
15. Okay. You guys are watching outside the window. Baruch is still outside, and a piece of debris comes right at him, but he kind of moves to the side and backs it out of the way, and it careens off into oblivion. What is Niobe doing inside the ship?
Avoiding things coming at her, but trying to identify what I'm seeing. I'm looking for an insignia. I'm looking for something to identify either the ship or the people that have felt a misfortune.
Okay. So you guys can be inside the ship, or you guys can be outside on the deck. So you two are still outside on the deck, correct? Niobe and Baruch?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So give me an investigation roll. An investigation, let's see, do you have investigation? You might not have it.
I do.
Oh, there you go. So you got a +6. This is pretty easy. So just go with the +6.
Please add 6 to that.
That is a critical success. Okay, this is what you see. There's debris from that ship. And it looks like it was some type of battleship. However, you look over the edge and you see another ship, a smaller ship that is kind of listing on its side and slowly sinking into Slipspace. It's on fire. There's smoke issuing from it. It's on fire, but it's slowly sinking as you guys are passing by it, because you guys are kind of coming out of this debris field right now. So that is the scene right there. You know, Baruch is out there kind of batting stuff away so that it doesn't damage the ship. Aura is maneuvering the ship. Iolaus is barking orders, and Niobe is looking over the side and seeing another ship that is also on fire, smoldering and sinking deeper into Slipspace.
I mentioned that over comms in case that might be important.
Okay. Aura, you didn't pick up any life signs from this debris field. Everything out here was dead.
Including the people in that ship that she just mentioned?
No, that is a completely different story. Now, another thing to explain is that Hellenes is a sci-fi game, but it's not Star Trek. And the weird part about Star Trek is that there's technology that does everything, but really nothing because from episode to episode you're like, well, why don't they just do what they did last episode? It seemed to work. In this game, you can scan for life signs and use your sensors, but your scanner will not differentiate between Iolaus and Niobe. It'll just say, yeah, there's something on the ship, but it won't, you won't be able to tell that, someone's heart is racing on the ship or all the magic that.
But there are living beings on that ship.
Yes, you will be able to tell that there is stuff on them, which you do fine.
Okay. I will immediately relay that over comms back to Niobe and everyone else. And I will start setting up. Do we have any sort of transfer pods or any sort of shuttles or anything like that I could send off my ship?
You have grappling hooks, and that's how you guys do boarding actions. Basically, you grapple another ship, and in Slipspace, ships would grapple, pull to one another if they're not sitting there just shooting, bolts of energy at each other, and they would board one another's ship. So yeah, your ship is definitely equipped to be moored to another ship.
Are we out of the debris field at this point?
Yes, you guys, the debris field is gone. Basically, you have to circle back around and go a little bit deeper.
Great. So I will call over comms, brace for boarding. All of a sudden, like a chameleon, head popping out, the sails will pop out, the ship will go back to full size, and I will drop those grappling hooks and hook on after I call brace for boarding.
Okay. You guys grapple the other ship, and it's a little touch and go because the ship has no power. Your ship has power and it's trying to maneuver. But essentially, that ship is kind of slowly dragging you guys down. It's also on fire. Once you guys look over onto the other deck, it looks like there was a battle here. There's what looks like maybe the guards or security that were on the ship. Some of them are tethered to the ship so that they didn't fall off, but they're dead. Big old holes in the side of the ship, smoldering, looks like laser blasts or some type of etheric weapons blasted through the ship. And what does kind of trouble you guys is that you guys see a few dead harpies there as well. And harpies are known to live in Slipspace. Humanoid beings, feathered arms, just, rough trade, these harpies. But you see a couple of their corpses.
Does this look like it could potentially be a trap to drawing say I guess I'm going to call it sailors, drawing sailors.
Oh no, absolutely. Give me an instinct roll. That is what you would do. You would trust your instincts. Give it to me -5. So you'd have a +3 -5, so you'd have a -2 to your roll.
So, tapping on the tactician bit that his roll's done. I'll let you deal with him first.
Okay. So let's see. Got a 7. That's a partial success. Meaning this very well could be a trap. You don't know for sure, but you're looking at it, you're like, yeah, there's a ship here, it's enclosed, it's sinking, other ships drive by. Very well could be a trap.
All right, because I assume I'm now on deck. I'll be like, if we're gonna approach this, we may want to approach this as a trap.
Fortune favors the bold, Iolaus. Let's have some fun. Today is not the day we die. We may have people to rescue on that ship. Surely, if the harpies had raided them, they'll have flown off by now.
Question: what do we know about harpies' intelligence? Are they cunning or are they sentient?
No, they are both. You could actually talk to one if you wanted to try and reason with the harpy. You absolutely could try. They're not just murder machines of malevolence.
So they're not Jason and the Argonauts harpies.
They're kind of, would they poop in your food? Maybe if given an opportunity. But if their needs are met, they don't have to do the things they did to what's his face in the story of Jason and the Argonauts. But yes, no, you could definitely reason with them. You could and people have been known to have them as mercenaries. So, but usually they inhabit Slipspace. They are a denizen of Slipspace. Or what would you like to do with your tactician?
Well, in response to Iolaus and Barak, I say, caution and action must be taken side by side, and we must act quickly. So if you wish to argue while acting. And what I'm trying to do with tactician at this point is is take the ship and try and catch a current or two, basically catch a wave or two to try and basically pull us up further. Since we are starting to sink, I'm going to basically, like I said, I make our size as big as I can, try and catch a current, but now I'm going to actually use navigation and piloting to try and catch an actual wave to take up and over.
Okay, give me a piloting roll -12. This is really difficult for you to do.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
So -12, so it'd be a total of -2.
Okay, so give it to me -2.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think it's worth me blowing. So I can blow hero point. I don't need to blow my seer of currents yet. Blowing the hero point will give me a +4, right?
Right, but you can do that after the roll. So you might be able to crush the roll and not have to spend it. So,
I didn't crush the roll, it looks like. I only rolled a 7.
Okay, so if you spent 2 hero points, that would get you to an 11.
Okay.
Okay.
Then I will spend the hero points.
Awesome. Okay, so before you guys go out on deck and decide to board the ship, Ara does some fancy maneuvering, and it looks like she's about to crash, you guys, because she kind of tips the ship and leans into an etheric wave. But obviously, because of her wisdom and acumen, as seer of currents, she manages to catch an updraft that pulls not only you but the ship a little bit higher up into Slipspace, so that you guys.
12, Aura, that was excellent.
That's right.
Thank you,
Also,
Niobe. Watch their backs.
Oops. Go on.
Watch their backs. Those two like to argue. You like to act.
Right.
Of course.
Indeed, watchers. Aura is wise. You heard her, Iolaus. We should argue while we board this ship. Come, let us argue and charge into adventure.
That's right. Add 3 glory to your character arc for your fancy maneuvering, because that's another thing too in this game that you just if you're running the game, give glory on the spot, man, because it will motivate people to do the most ridiculous things. It's
awesome. So what does glory do for me again?
Basically, glory.
That's the score. That's the points. I see it. Yep. I'm at 25, so I got 1 glory. Got it.
Nope, you got 3 glory out of it.
Oh, I got 3 glory. I heard 3 glory. Okay, cool.
You up to 28. Now, if you look at your character sheets, also, the more glory you have, the more gifts that you are favored with by your god.
Yeah, 2 more points, and I get a new thing.
Yep. So as the game is played, your characters are moving on up, kind of like in the Jeffersons. But so yes, you move up, and then who's going over to who's boarding the other ship?
I guess both myself and what's your character's name, Guy?
Baruch, yeah. Iolaus is, and I am too, and we're continuing to argue about whether this is a good idea as we barrel over, I think.
I'll take a position as they're heading down so that I'm able to keep an eye out and make a swift shot if need be. Again, I would like to point out, it's a heroic position.
Okay, so is Niobe going over there?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's
So
holding as they go
Overwatch.
down. She's watching their back.
Yeah, she's their Overwatch.
Awesome. Okay. So you guys jump over to the other ship. You guys get your footing. Was there anything in particular you guys wanted to do before you went into the ship? Or you guys boldly marching in? Or you guys trying to
Shall we take a break before we proceed?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, let's do that.
Cliffhanger.
So take a little break.
5-10 minutes.
Okay.
All right.
And I'll go do push-ups, or not really. I'm not going to.
All right. We will be back in 5 or 10 minutes. So don't touch that dial.